And welcome to this Wednesday edition of Bury Your Bookie. I'm Jeff DeForest. Very happy to have you guys with us here for the show. Going to be joined here in a second by the great Scotty M. And I don't know how excited he is about, what's going on in the National Basketball Association. Of course, tonight we have the draft. The draft. Scotty M, looking good as always in his home studio there. Scotty, how are you, my friend?
What's going on, Defo? You done celebrating the Florida Panthers? Because I think they're still going. I don't think they've stopped since last Tuesday night, a week ago, a little over.
I actually thought that I was going to come in contact with the Stanley Cup yesterday. We were setting up a show I do. It's actually a food review show. And one of the stops they made with the cup, and there's a strong affiliation there, a local restaurant. I don't know if you're familiar with it, called Heritage. And Heritage is a real good Italian spot. You would love it. It actually got a Michelin recognition, the only place in Broward County that was recognized by the Michelin people who just started rating restaurants here. And the owner is a guy named Reno Sorbonne, whose best friend is Todd Bertuzzi, but his brother-in-law is Roberto Luongo. And
Yeah.
one of the famous celebrations last year was when Luongo was eating some kind of pasta bolognese, which is an outstanding dish that they make at Heritage, out of the cup. We came to find out later it wasn't directly out of the cup, because you're thinking with the amount of polish that thing has absorbed over the years, it probably isn't the most appetizing or appealing plate that you could have to be serving pasta on. But they did put a liner there, and we were set up, and it kept delaying the time that the show was supposed to begin. And I'm thinking, they're bringing the cup there, but turned out it didn't happen. The show
Nope.
itself ended up being a scratch, and so looking forward to that. But I heard the cup was heading for a place on the beach called Aruba. I don't know if you been part of any of these celebrations?
I actually have not been part of it. I mean, I was part of the celebration all the way through it,
Yeah.
going supporting them and doing things like that. But no, none of the fan fest kind of stuff I haven't been supporting, because this time of the year for me is a busy time of the year with work and my scheduling, working on the weekends as well. But yeah, no, I like to, listen, it's going to be going in so many places and so many people. It takes the excitement out of it, you being like one of a few to have the opportunity to get near it, when it's been going traveling all over the place, going from nightclubs to restaurants to Dairy Queens to malls. It's amazing what the Panthers have done. They work so hard all year to deserve it, and now they're really enjoying it. You can see the satisfaction of being a Stanley Cup champion and the work that goes into it throughout a whole entire season. And now, listen, they're living the life with it. So God bless them, man.
Well earned, and they deserve every moment of the celebration. Interestingly, you had, I think, three teams open up as favorites to win the Stanley Cup next year. It's 7-1.
Yeah.
Of course, the Panthers and Edmonton were two of the three teams on that list. Colorado Avalanche in there also at 7-1. But I'm thinking there's always transformation, just like in the NBA. People, this word is thrown around like a brick now. Dynasty. Everybody wants to declare a team a dynasty. The Celtics were a dynasty. UCLA basketball was a dynasty. In hockey, the Islanders were a dynasty. Montreal back in the day. I don't know that you win one championship and you immediately fall into that category. And since there have been seven different champions in the NBA over the last 7 years, you'd have to think, let's look elsewhere. I'm not sure how heavily you get involved in these futures wagers, but I'm looking for something with a bigger price there. I was thinking maybe the Maple Leafs break that curse at 20-1, and in the NBA, I don't know how seriously you would take this opportunity, but to win the Eastern Conference next year, you have two of the big favorites now going to be without their star. Boston's kind of trading off their more expensive players that would put them in this second tier or whatever it is, which is prohibitive against the salary cap. And I'm looking at maybe like a team like Detroit to have an opportunity. The East in the NBA seems to be wide open from a future standpoint if you can get past Cleveland.
Yeah, no, definitely. It looks extremely wide open. And mentioning Detroit, they're a young, scrappy team. They had a good season this year. A couple of key pieces to the ingredients over there work very well together. So they definitely want to be something you might want to watch. Obviously, Cleveland had a fantastic season, consistent all year long until the injury bug caught them in the playoffs. I thought they could have went a long ways. I really thought it was going to be between them and Boston to get to the championship against OKC. That's what I figured right from the beginning. It looked as chalky can be, but you get one of those long shots that hits the bomb as they call it. It hits the board at 30 to 50 to 1.
Yeah.
That upset, which Indiana Pacers, I guess you could consider them the upset, to get to obviously the finals, and took it all the way to Game 7. I really thought they could have won that Game 7 if all systems were go when Halliburton, didn't get hurt in that game. He started out a house of fire, and as he goes, like I said, that team goes. I said that before the series started. As he goes, they go, and when he's going, they're going. And he was off to a great start, Defo. He was 3 for 4 from three-pointer. He had 9 points in the first 6-7 minutes of the game, and then obviously he goes down with that terrible injury. I think they could have stayed in that game and maybe had a shot to win it. If he's in there and they got all their pieces, I really think they had a shot to win that game outright. I still believe if he was healthy and played through that whole game, that they could have definitely covered that game and kept it extremely close or won it outright. So, OKC caught a big break, losing, obviously, by the Pacers losing Halliburton.
Imagine how painful that was if you had the Pacers at plus 550 in the series. And, you were in that category? Because, and certainly as a futures bet, I think Indiana, where were they, 50 to 1 or something to win the NBA title in spite of
Yeah,
showing these kind of signs the year before. But what we noticed about the NBA, too, I mean, you have to knock on the door first, and Indiana did that. And that's why I'm thinking it's a long shot, obviously, at 60 to 1. But the
yeah.
Pistons, I'm not sure they quite have enough to win the championship. But there's a
Problem
big hole right now in the NBA East. I would at least take that into consideration.
Yeah, the problem with those type of teams, though, they always let you down somehow, some way.
Yeah.
They just can't get you to the next level. They get to a certain point, and that's it. They don't get past it. Like you mentioned, Toronto and hockey. They haven't got to that point. They get to a certain point, but they can't leapfrog to the next level. And I hate betting on teams like that, to be honest, in franchises, because I know you can say, well, they're due to get better, and they're so close and yet so far away, kind of theory. But it's just very tough for me to put my money on teams that just find ways to lose it, not ways to win it. Like the Panthers were a team of destiny. They just found ways to win. They always found to win that key game, Game 5. The games on the road. After losing, they come right back and win. You want teams like that. OKC the same way, basically, this year in the NBA. Never went on long losing streaks. Stayed so consistent. Just found ways to end things and move forward and keep going. That was the philosophy, that works the best, as far as sports go. You got these teams that just find ways to continue to, get to that next level. And OKC obviously was a perfect example. Florida Panthers coming into the playoffs, everyone was writing them off before the playoffs started, and all of a sudden they took off like a house of fire, and they just showed, the class, when they put it all together again, that they outperform basically, all the other teams out there.
Are you inclined at all, you and your crew, to dive into speculation about where certain players will go in the NBA draft? Or you've been involved in any kind of wagering on that tonight?
I haven't really put a lot of time into the NBA draft. I know it's today and tomorrow, obviously,
Yeah.
and the one player we all know is about as lock's going to get with Cooper Flag. Then they got some first freshmen. A lot of freshmen I saw. A lot of freshmen have a shot to make the first round this year. As many as I've ever seen. I'm hearing like 7 possible freshman players are going to get picked up in the first round of this draft. So very interesting. To answer your question, no, I have not had a lot of time to put into it because I've been so focused on the Stanley Cup and riding this Panthers, quest for the second one, and the NBA playoffs and baseball, which has been dynamite for us. Knock on wood, the first 80 games or less have been really, really solid for us. So no, but I'm going to start digging into it. I'm going to start watching it. My team will start watching it, and we kind of know the pieces to the puzzle where they may or may not go. I don't think there's going to be any major surprises unless there's trades, I'm hearing a lot of rumblings. There could be some trades taking place tonight and tomorrow, which could make it very exciting. But Cooper Flag to Dallas with now Kyrie Irving saying he wants to stay there. And if you keep Anthony Davis, that could be an interesting threesome right there around the role players they have. That might be a little out there to watch this Dallas team because I'll tell you, with Kyrie, bringing the ball up and handling it with this Cooper Flag, who's dynamite, and he might be the real deal. This guy, I mean, he could come right in and start playing at a high level in his first year. And you got Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, whoo, he's one of the top players in the league. That could be an interesting play to watch this Dallas Mavericks team coming up this year.
You think there was a Fugazi fix? Are you a conspiracy theorist when it comes to the NBA
It's
draft?
probably a Fugazi. They probably had David Copperfield in the background switch kind of magical trick with the with the cards there. So yeah, listen, like everyone says, 1.8% chance of winning it, 98.2% against you, and you find a way to get it done after losing the best player on your team, probably in the longest. Well, you had Nowitzki, but probably outside of Nowitzki, Dallas Mavericks' best player. I guess you could call it almost in their franchise was Luka Doncic, and then all of a sudden, mystery out of overnight. The Indianapolis Colts, the Baltimore Colts moving van, everything shipping out. Luka Doncic moves right out in the middle of the night, and then they get the number one pick now with Cooper Flag. So, I guess you could say, that's a good thing for them. But yeah, definitely things that make you want to go with that draft for sure. With winning the first pick of the lottery, obviously.
Doncic goes to LA. The franchise suddenly has an evaluation of $10 billion,
Yeah.
making you think. And I remember thinking when Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers for $2 billion, it's good this guy has that much money, but what a foolish idea that was. Turns out to be very fortuitous for him. The rich continue to get richer, but to see the Lakers with an aging, possibly soon to retire, if not before this year, I'm thinking he comes back, LeBron, but at this stage, if he has one more season, that would be a very fair evaluation. Uh,
Yeah.
but to make the franchise worth $10 billion, and then this sudden reward, it was kind of like I remember when they conducted the '84 draft and Patrick Ewing went to the Knicks. Everybody was saying it was a fix. Nobody saw the actual draw. I think they conducted the draw of the ping pong balls. I don't know if you've ever tried to buy a knockoff purse on Canal Street in New York City, where you have to go through a bunch of trap doors to get down to the place where they actually have the merchandise. It's almost like you're in a scene out of The Deer Hunter as you're rolling into this clandestine location. And sure enough, the Knicks come up with Patrick Ewing to save the franchise's fortunes for the long-term future at that time.
See
Didn't work
the
out with the championship, but it reeks of a fix. It really does, Scotty.
Did you see the price that Jerry Buss and when he bought the Lakers for 67 million?
Yeah.
He got the stadium, he got the LA Kings and the LA Lakers franchise for 67 million, and now they sell it for 10 billion. 49 years later, I guess it was. But the bottom $67 million. You back in that day, you're talking crazy money, obviously. But nowadays, 10 billion from 67 million. I think the Buss family made a good investment.
No doubt about it. And when you see the story depicted in Winning Time, which what was a little bit over the top, especially I was not fond of the unflattering depiction of Jerry West and/or my man Pat Riley, but they kind of illustrated that Jerry Buss really put this thing together with thumbtacks and tape and paste because he didn't have the money even at the time, and turned out to be one of the great sports investments ever in history. As the evaluation now $10 billion. All right, baseball last night we had kind of an interesting thing with the Cincinnati Reds going against the New York Yankees. Chase Burns comes out there, prospect, and fans the first five guys. Looks like Steven Strasburg in his first start. He did get touched up for a few runs. Second time around, what are you seeing on the baseball slate, Scotty M? And maybe we can get into some picks.
Well, how about the burning of money that the New York teams are doing in baseball between the Yankees and Mets? If you bet against them over the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks plus, you guys are up a ton of money. I mean, these teams can't get out of their own way. The Mets are like 1-10 in their last 11. Yankees, just got a terrible record of late. I mean, last night a 165 favorite on the road with Rodon. They're up 3-0. They blow the game. They lose it in extras 5-4. Like you said, they got that rookie pitcher last night. Fans, the first time I think a rookie pitcher in their franchise, or second time I think ever, where he strikes out the side in the first inning. So they got a little talent there. This guy was the number 2 overall pick, I think, in all of baseball. So he's definitely a high prospect. So yeah, the Yankees can't find their way. This guys, this is the time of year you got to be really really careful because there's a lot of teams out there right now burning money in baseball, and they're going on these they're going on these bad losing streaks right now where they're not consistent at all. Like team like the Mets, I mean, getting crushed. I mean, they were a house of fire. All of a sudden now they're a dud. Playing against the Braves, who have been playing really good baseball. They're making the Mets, after losing the first two games, they're making them a big favorite today. So I'm avoiding certain situations, and I'm focusing on the teams that I feel are playing a little more consistent. And when they match up against certain teams, like I had the St. Louis Cardinals the last two nights against the Cubs, that's a team that's been playing extremely well of late over the last few weeks or so, and consistent. The Cubs have tailed off a little bit. So watch your money this time of the year. That's my best advice. Don't chase after these teams that are due to win theory. Forget that due to win shit. It's not all about that due to win stuff. Because perfect example, the New York teams and even a team like Boston Red Sox recently, they've been burning money. They lost their last four in a row after winning a bunch. Before that, they lost a bunch. No consistent pattern there. Team like that, you kind of stay away from. Wait for them to get out of this kind of up and down rut. But to answer your question, as far as tonight goes, yeah, I am looking at a couple of games that I feel pretty confident in. Team that's been playing real well, obviously, again, consistent as the Dodgers. They've been playing really well of late, winning 8 out of their last 10. They're a huge favorite tonight. I don't think anybody needs me to pick the Dodgers at minus 300. I think they can do it on their own. But I was looking at the card tonight, and another team that's like surprising. There's this San Diego team started out a house of fire. It's just been like tailing off. Can't catch a run with them. They win one, they lose one. But just my point is, try to stay away from these teams that you think are due to turn it around because it might not come as fast as you want. You might be down a lot of money before they start turning around, and you don't want to be in that spot where you're down a lot of money chasing after teams. But tonight, I'm looking at these games. Hold on one second. I'm pulling it up. I think the Cubs is a good play tonight, even though, like I said, they got the right. I think they got the right matchup against St. Louis. St. Louis won the first two games. Usually, these series there are not many sweeps in them. These are the type of series where they play each other pretty well. They're pretty physical, type of matchups. But I like this Boyd. I think he's been pitching extremely well. He's got a 6-3 mark with about a two under 3 ERA. He's going against Feedy. Feedy hasn't been getting much support from them. He's 3-6, even though he's got a low ERA. So I think the Cubs are going to steal the last game of the season. Well, win this one. They lost the first two. They're minus 130, 135. So I like the Cubs in that spot today. I think they get the job done. That's one of the plays I feel good about. And what was the other one I was looking at here? I'm sorry about that. Another guy that makes you shake your head is this Paul Skeens. As great as he's pitching under a 2 ERA, I mean, they can't get this guy any support. He's got a 4-6 overall record. If you look this year, Defo, you see a lot of these pitchers with low ERAs, under 3 or around the 3 mark, but they got terrible losing records. I mean, they're getting absolutely no support, whether it's the bullpens falling apart or the offense of their team, not giving them runs, or they're blowing games late for these starting pitchers that pitch solid 6 innings and they come out and the bullpens just give it up. There's a lot of that going on this year. The other game I like tonight, I'm gonna ride with the Groom, obviously with Texas over Baltimore. I like Texas in this spot. He's minus 150. The Groom, when he's on, he's as good as anybody in the league. He's 7-2. His ERA is 2.24, extremely low. He gives you 6, 7 good solid innings unless he gets hurt. But I think he's going to definitely take advantage of this spot tonight against Baltimore. So those would be the two plays that I'm jumping on: the Cubs, and I'm jumping on Texas. 2 road favorites in spots where I feel they have a decisive edge. So I'm going to ride with those 2 for tonight.
Are you inclined to get involved in any of these prop bet parlays? I had a friend I was talking about on a show yesterday. He had a guy that he knew that made 4 guys to hit a home run, a parlay out of the 4 of them. It was Judge, who had been in a slump, and De La Cruz in the Yankee-Cincinnati game, and then he had Acuna Jr. and Soto, who had been on fire in the Mets game against the Braves. They all hit home runs, and he ended up getting back $3,700 for $25.
Wow.
We were talking about how, I mean, it has to be insane, the odds against these things, because
Yeah,
clearly,
definitely.
I mean, you love making a lot of money by wagering a little, but at the same time, FanDuel and DraftKings and these organizations are not enjoying the stature they have today. If people are hitting this on any kind of frequent basis, I mean, think about how many people lost the 25 to make up for the fact that they're still profiting, even though they had to dole out 3,700 on 25 in this case. Do you get involved in any of that? Because it seems like it would be a lot of fun, but the
Well,
odds of all
that's
four guys hitting home runs on the same night, no matter how good they are, no matter how high they are in the standings in the home run race, a home run chase, still, seems extremely prohibitive.
That's the key word you just hit. It's fun. And I'm not in this for fun. I'm in this for business. So I'm not looking for fun things to try to, pick up stuff like that to hit four guys hitting four, four separate guys hitting four home runs to win a bet. It's almost an impossible mission. Obviously, that's why for $25, you get back $3,700. Yeah, do they worry about it? I mean, they limit you probably on stuff like that anyways. They're not going to take big money on things like that. So it's small numbers that go in, but they have so many players throughout the United States, playing with these big books like DraftKings and FanDuel. I mean, the number of people playing is crazy. So I'm sure they don't mind, if it happens once in a great while, because I'm sure it only happens once in a great while. I'm sure it's not a consistent thing, or they would be cutting it right out. You know how these places are. It's all about them. It's not about us. They're looking for them. They're looking to have that upper hand. They offer all these things to you not because they're nice people. They offer them because they know the edge is in their corner. I mean, at the end of the day. So when they have the edge, I mean, you're going against a tough situation. But no, I don't get involved with stuff like that. To be honest, if I was to play a player prop here or there, I might jump on one guy if I feel like I've got the right situation, a certain pitcher going against a certain lineup. And I might look for things like that where I feel I have a decisive edge. But as far as playing a 14-player parlay to hit home runs, not Scotty M, man.
All right, that's why you're where you are, and
Yeah,
a lot of us are just
fun.
hanging out face down in the gutter. I probably have a better chance of stealing Brooklyn Decker away from Andy Roddick than this guy had of hitting the four-man parlay. Although all of the players that he picked were logical, and
Yeah, no, they were. They
yeah,
were
but on
players.
the same night, very, very tough call there, and that's why the odds were so substantial. All right, Scotty M, how do people find out more about your stuff, and how do they get involved? Because I know you're giving away a lot of freebies on your Instagram site there.
Oh yeah, man, we're giving it away, and we've been doing really well. Guys, check out our new broadcast channel. All you do when you come on my Instagram, just click and join. It's all free. We've been on a tear there. I think we won the last four in a row, and we've been hitting about 65% since we started it. Probably a few months or less ago. And obviously, our free picks on Instagram each and every day. So we're giving away at least a couple of free games every day up there. My Instagram channel is SM Sports Picks, Picks on Instagram. And look for the blue verified check mark at the top. Make sure it's us. Again, SM Sports Picks, Picks. Free stuff all the time. Trying to give you that winning edge. Again, just have fun with them. Those are games to have some fun with. Don't bet over your head. Bet with the head, and have some fun with it. And if we stay consistent, you're making some dough.
All right, Scotty M, good luck with your plays tonight. Thanks as always for joining us here on Bury Your Bookie, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Defo.
Scotty M, ladies and gentlemen, always on top, loves his baseball, which is great. You have to have something that drives you every day because there shouldn't be a day that goes by that you don't think of a way, some kind of method to beat the system. We're trying to bury your bookie. I hope you guys got some kind of insight from Scotty M on a baseball card. He's not betting the NBA. He's not betting those crazy parlays. For Scotty M, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in to this morning's edition of Barry.